find like the film industry and freelancing to be, it's sort of counterintuitive to like what you learn in film school, where they teach you to, oh, you have to sort of, promote yourself. And it's like, yeah, you do have to promote yourself, but like that comes a little bit later, actually. The sort of first steps is just like building it, like the network first, that sort of starts to grow naturally. And then you start making that name for yourself that you can then build some sort of like, I don't know, brand around, like we have.
Hi, I'm Jaco.
And I'm Mark.
And welcome back to Department Spotlight. It's the show where we talk to our friends and colleagues about their experiences in the film industry. Today, our only friends and colleagues are ourselves. So, yeah.
Wait. Wow. And since it's the end of the year and it's only us, we thought that it might be cool to do a sort of year in review of what we learned on YouTube and making films and touching a bit on freelancing.
So without any further ado, let's get into it. So let's talk about how we've been making money this year. How have we funded all these films? How have we been able financially and with our schedules, how have we been able to afford to do YouTube to the degree that we've been doing it? So what we've been doing is we've been freelancing for a while now, but the freelancing work is more sort of like promotional work, commercial work, editing, things for other people. And while those things pay the bills and while they, they're not like the worst thing to create, sometimes you want to make things for yourself, right? And I think that's what we've been doing.
Well, I think it's also making things for yourself, but also keeping the goal in mind of like...
Oh, yeah, like the career goal.
We want like the things that we like doing, like the films, to become the thing that we do for money. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But you can't just jump off, start doing that straight away, because it just, I don't know, it just doesn't work that way.
Exactly like we said in proof of concept.
It's not like any other field
yeah,
in the entire world that works that way.
Literally. Or you could just go and be an accountant after you studied accounting. Maybe start as a junior accountant, but then you're an accountant, Whereas in the film industry, it's like, oh, you studied film, but it's sort of some in this industry, some people are like, oh, you studied film. Well, we didn't study film, so we're gonna give the opportunities to the people who also didn't study film.
Yeah. So
in this industry, it's really about who you know and on what set you can get on. It's like people are not posting in the newspaper like production designer needed or director wanted. It's like you need to.
There's 1,000,001 ways to get into film.
Yeah.
And it feels like every single year there's a million more. And every single year the whole industry is changing in some way. And you just have to I don't know.
Just got to keep.
I don't know. It's rough. It's rough out here.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why we're doing it ourselves. It's like some people choose a specific path, and that's great if that works for them. Our path is making the things.
The brute force.
Yes. Exactly. Making the things, figuring out how to do it, finding people to do it with us, and then just keep going.
So yeah, from working with lots of people this year and doing other freelance work, we sort of formalized ourselves into a company. But I think where we've got sort of other projects on the go, but we as a sort of company right now, we sort of freelance together. But I suppose just finishing off here, we just wanted to maybe give some our learnings on freelancing as well and various questions. So what do you want to start with?
How did you find your first clients? Because I mean, I think, okay, so there's two things, right? Either you decide I'm just going to go freelance, or you try something else. You try working for a place and then you decide, okay, no, now I'm going freelance. Or you working in a certain industry and then you decide, okay, now I'm going to go freelance in that other industry. So I think it's always scary. It doesn't matter which route you take to start freelancing. I think it's scary thinking like, how am I going to find my first clients? So how did you find your first clients?
I don't know, it's crazy. I think that there's a sort of overlap between freelancing in general, not just film, and just the film industry, where it's a lot to do with networking. Like I didn't find any of the people who I do work for through, putting myself out there with a CV and making, like a profile for myself, and people were like emailing me. No, I found out people because I just like got a WhatsApp from you or someone else being like, hey, I know this person who wants this done. And then you do that thing, and then that person recommends you to other people, and then you just sort of work a network that way, which is really funny because it always find like the film industry and freelancing to be, it's sort of counterintuitive to what you learn in film school, where they teach you to, you have to sort of, promote yourself. And it's like, yeah, you do have to promote yourself, but like that comes a little bit later actually. The sort of first steps is just like building it, like the network first, that sort of starts to grow naturally, and then you start making that name for yourself that you can then build some sort of like, I don't know, brand around, like we have, starting small, and then that person refers you to another person, or you have got like other editing friends, or it doesn't have to be editing, it could be like associated to your field, and then they'll recommend you for the thing, and which no one really speaks about. Everyone.
Exactly. Like for me, when I did go freelancing, there was like a good 4 months where I didn't have any work, right? And I knew that was probably going to be the case, so I had like a little bit of a safety net there. But it turned out that the first client that I had was somebody who had also worked at the same place that I worked, and now worked for a different company. And then because they knew me, or because this guy knew me, he could recommend me to his boss. And then that was the first sort of client that I had, and I did like a couple of things with them. And then the next client, again, somebody that I knew was working with a person, and exactly like you said, Mark, they got too busy, so they passed that person over to me. So much work came from that as well. I got too busy, so that's where I got you involved as well. So I think it's exactly what you're saying. Like as a freelancer, word of mouth, or like just knowing people, networking, that's the best way to start. Which is also difficult and intimidating, because it's like, you just need to know people. And that's not very good advice.
Wild.
Yeah,
but it's kind of true. Like there isn't sort of a natural, I suppose this goes back to what I was speaking about as well, just getting into the film industry is like, there isn't just like a one entry point, you know what I mean? You think that there's someone just going to be there at a door that says film industry on it, and then like open it for you and be like, welcome in, and you walk in, and then in that room is standing every single other person.
I think a lot of people
industry. It's like,
I think a lot of people do sort of accept that they're going to have to start as a PA, and they're willing to start as a PA, but it's like, how do you get there? And like you said, it's just I think maybe even you should try, if somebody's shooting a student film or a short film, you should just volunteer to do it for free. Then you meet people there, and then you're like, okay, listen, on the next thing that you're doing, I'll do another thing for free. Eventually you start charging.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it for this extract of the Loot Pictures 2020 Retrospective Year in the View podcast Bonanza. I hope you liked it. If you did, then make sure to click that like button.
And while you're down there, if that subscribe button is still red, click it. Cool things could happen, who knows? And if you have any other questions about anything that we learned this year, or anything else for that matter, leave us a little comment down there in the comment section. We try to respond to all of them. And also remember that you can listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else that you listen to your podcasts. Link in the description. So until next time, go out there, stay safe, and make your movie.